Greetings, my friends. Welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George, and once again joined by my special guest, my dad, Phil. Say hello.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, George, my boy.
Well, good afternoon. So, back again, and today we are going to be chatting about some of our latest vinyl acquisitions, our latest vinyl purchases, right from across the board of the heavy music world. We've got a real varied collection, actually. If you're going to talk about what I think you're going to talk about, which I could be wrong, but
As we discussed, yeah. So
yes.
nothing's changed for me. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right then. Yes, then I'm pretty sure we've got right the way across the heavy music spectrum. So, do you want to kick us off with your first latest vinyl
Yeah.
purchase?
Yep. Okay. This one, because George and I were just discussing years and how important it is to know the year of a release. A lot of people out there might think that's not important, but sadly, to people like me and George and many others, it is very important. Right. This one.
Chronology is very important.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's the old thing, isn't it? I mean, people that don't file their albums, CDs, cassettes, whatever, in date release order. What the hell is the matter with these people? You know, I've got a friend actually I'll just tell you this quickly. I've got a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, who I went to see last year, and he's got a pretty decent, well, a very decent vinyl collection, but he doesn't file them. The artists are within alphabetical, but they're not in chronological. The albums are in some sort of alphabetical order within that. I said, "What is going on?" Couldn't answer the question. And I shan't be seeing him again. I shan't be visiting him again. That's for sure.
That was the end of that friendship. Yeah.
Non-OCD loser.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, this one, 1976, Mercury Records, Canada's finest power trio. I guess everybody's kind of knows where I'm going with this one. I'm talking about 1976, Rush, All the World's a Stage. Wow. Now, this is a fantastic album. I first heard that probably round about 79. So it was only 3 years old at the time. Now, this album came hot on the heels of 2112, which was their breakthrough album. Yeah. Because up to that point, they'd done 3 albums, and it hadn't really happened for them. I think they had kind of just were drifting. Great albums, the first 3 albums, I think, but I think commercially it was over. All of a sudden, 2112 comes out, and bingo, off they go. And I mean, in my opinion, it's their best album, but that's kind of by the by because we're talking about this one now. This album, because I always think that 4 albums in is a really good time to make a live album, actually, because it gives you loads of scope for a really good set list, and make it a double. Always.
Yeah, you've got enough content, haven't you? You've got enough.
Plenty of content there. Plenty of content there. Absolutely no problem at all. Anyway, the album itself is sledgehammer heavy. This album is hard as nails. They everybody sort of talks about Rush or one of those bands is very difficult to pin a label on. I mean, people have described them as better heavy. People have said that they're a heavy metal band. Rush have got nothing to do with heavy metal, absolutely nothing at all. They are a heavy prog band. That's what they are. And I really do stick by that, because that is literally what they are.
Yeah.
Prog to me means complex, slightly weird, because Rush are famous for weird timings and all this kind of stuff going on. And they're consummate musicians, absolutely brilliant musicians. So you've got that amazing talent there. They are not, and I please don't. I hope anybody watching this who's a Quo fan, please don't take this wrong way, but they're not Quo. Do you know, this belongs in a totally different shelf. But anyway, but at the same time, it's a really heavy album. This is rocking. I mean, right from the kickoff, it starts off with Bastille Day, from Caress of Steel, which is just a really good, solid rock song. Anthem, Fly By Night. These are all good rock prog stuff.
Yes.
We get on the second side of the album, which kicks off with Lakeside Park, which is a kind of a nice little, sort of a fairly whimsical kind of little, sentimental is the word I'm looking for, tune that Neil Peart wrote the lyrics. He wrote all the lyrics, but this is very personal to him. And then we get, after that, we get side one of 2112.
All right.
Then we go on to side three, which is actually my favourite side of the vinyl. Anyway, was Bytor and the Snow Dog, which is just an epic Norse kind of feel thing going on there. You know, Bytor the Snow Dog. You know, you feel
Sounds good.
Canadian band. You know, you think snow, wasteland, and all that sort of stuff. You know, and I actually love that. Yeah, and then you get a track in the end at the end of that side. And then on the last side of the album, side 4, we get Working Man Finding My Way, which actually reaching right back to the very first album, where before Neil Peart was in the band, because he wasn't actually on that album. And he came in on the second album, and then he became their lyricist as well as their drummer. And you can really tell the difference there. The difference is absolutely cavernous there. You've got, all of a sudden, you've got this very sort of intricate lyrics and weird stuff going on. Then you reach right back to
different band. Yeah,
totally different band. Basically, just the I don't know how. I think they were very Zeppelin influenced on the first album. They were, there was a kind of that kind of feel to it all the way through. But it's good fun anyway. It's still a good listen, and I like it. And the overall package, as I said, it's really heavy. This is so good, and it's raw as well. It's not overproduced, and I know that. What is overproduced, for a live album? Is it where a live album then suddenly becomes so worked on? And we've spoken about this before, that it doesn't sound like a live album anymore.
It sounds like a studio effort.
Exactly, or it just ends up being a greatest hits. So there's but equally at the same time, I've got no time for people that sit there and say, "Oh, it's not a live album," because they all tinkered about with it in the studio. And we know this is nonsense, don't we? Of course, it's been tinkered about with in the studio. It's for public consumption. It's not a mixing desk bootleg, But this, having said that, on this album, they get the perfect balance for me of a brilliant music, without a doubt, one of my favourite bands playing from their early catalogue. And it's all up a notch. It's really, you really do feel like it's just going on in front of you.
Good cover as well.
Well, I'm just going to get onto that, actually, George. I was just going to say to you, the cover is very Rush, actually, because what's going on here is they could have gone down the route of having some live shots. I mean, there's some great live shots of the band all through this, actually. I don't know if you can pick these up, but there are some, there's some fantastic band shots and on stage stuff there, really good. But they've always been a little bit clever clogs, this lot. And what they've done is they've got a photo of their stage as they are about to take it, I'm guessing. And it doesn't look like a particularly massive auditorium there to me. It looks like a fairly modest venue.
Oh, yeah.
It does, yeah. But there it all is. There it all is. There's cables everywhere. There's all these marshals going on here, and then there's Neil's drum kit in the middle there. And you just think, this is not going. You look at this cover and you think to yourself, if you walked into that room, you thought, this is going to be Noisy Night. This is not going to be a nice little quiet evening to relax with a cup of tea. This is going to be
not songs of praise.
Noisy, exactly. Yeah. Or Highway. God forbid. Older viewers might remember that. But, that to me, it says it all. And as I said, it's very typical of them, because they were one of these bands who nothing was ever, every detail was attended to with this band. Right artwork, everything. And to me, it's very, very typical of them. And it really works. And also, I mean, compare and contrast with the next live album, which came 4 studio albums later, Exit Stage Left, which is it's a good album, but as we said, it might as well be a greatest hits.
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's
Certainly with a
absolutely
cover like that.
Two. Everything's just, it doesn't sound. They even faded the crowd out between each song,
Yeah, I
which
remember
is
you saying that's weird. That's a weird.
Well, again, that's another fight. So that should carry a fairly heavy sentence, I think, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I've got absolutely no time. Well, I've got time for the album because I love the music, but I don't see the point in listening to it because I could just put the album on.
Well, exactly.
You know, this, on the other hand, does it really well. This is just slamming. I love this so much. In fact, I love it so much that I fairly recently bought it on CD again. And as you know, the keen-eyed viewers might notice I haven't even undone it yet because I've got this. And you know what?
Like it.
When I do get the old turntable whizzing there, this isn't far away as I love this stuff. Yeah. So there we are. All the words of stage 86.
I like it. It's so good that you have to have it on multiple formats.
Absolutely. I'm not one of these one format kind of guy. You know, I don't need it on CD because I've got it on vinyl. So
No.
2023, you break.
I'm absolutely with you. If I love something, I don't necessarily have an issue with having it on multiple formats. Vinyl, CD, cassette, I'm happy.
Of course, absolutely. The more the merrier.
So
all we need there's a mini disc.
Oh yeah, or floppy disk or whatever it is. And we've got streaming as well, so don't forget.
Of course.
All right. So my first piece of latest acquisitions, if you like, is a bit of a weird one because this is a band that I'm very, very new to actually. This is a band that I kept reading the name. The name kept coming up with regards to bands' inspirations. And I'm talking primarily within the sort of the black metal community. The name Root came up quite a lot from now I can't pronounce it even though I just googled it and asked you about that. Is it Czechia? So what was
they say Czechia, but it's
Czechia?
Czech Republic in other words, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is.
Something like that. So this album was their second album. This came out in 1991. This is obviously a much more recent reissue. We've got a year 2016. So it's interesting because I really enjoy this music. Some great creepy artwork there. I don't know if you can see. Oh, wrong way. On the inside there. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but it sort of sets the idea. You know, this is very black metal. Certainly with sort of low budget King Diamond impression up there from Big Boss. The makeup going there, the corpse paint. So I don't really know how to describe this, but it's considered, and I mentioned this to you yesterday, pre-second wave black metal. So it's not first wave black metal, it's not second wave black metal, it's pre-second wave. So alongside bands like Bulldozer from Italy, this is considered to be quite influential stuff. It sort of impressed and helped to guide what then became the second wave black metal. Bands like Dark Throne and Mayhem and Rotting Christ and blah, 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 so on, so on, so on. But I don't know why I really like this, but I do. And it sounds completely different because it's like what we spoke about recently when Merciful Fate is considered to be first wave black metal. Yeah, it doesn't stylistically shares very, very little resemblance of anything that could be considered black metal. It's miles apart from even Venom, you know, the big first wave black metal band. But obviously it's imagery, it's thematics, it's lyrical content, things like that. So I think that this is where Root sit quite comfortably within black metal pre-second wave, because it doesn't share a huge amount with anything to do with the second wave. It has little bits of sort of Venom in there. There are little bits of more traditional Nwabum sort of heavy metal.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that. Sorry, George. I was just going to ask that, because it's quite interesting.
That cover,
Because you
yeah,
did say about the cover. You
yes,
mentioned that to me. It's a kind of a little bit of a poor man's black metal.
yes, or Welcome to
But
Hell.
Welcome to Hell. Sorry, Welcome to Hell. But it's still good. It's
Yeah,
still a
it's a good
good
cover.
good cover. I like it. But I was
Yeah,
just going to ask you, because I've never heard it.
no,
Obviously, I never heard of them until you told me about it yesterday. But so, I mean, could you describe this as heavy metal, just good old
yes,
fashioned heavy
yes,
metal? You could.
yes. I would say that this fits closer with just traditional heavy metal. Well, certainly the Hell Symphony, their second album, that certainly does. It has got elements, like I say, of sort of Venom, Merciful Fate
Mm,
in there, but actually it's quite unique. Surprisingly, for something that's, it looks pretty formulaic. It looks like it's Venom. That this could
mm,
easily be a Venom album cover. Actually, it
mm.
sounds really unique. It's very different. It doesn't sound like anything that we get coming out of Scandinavia at that time, or even sort of a lot of the mainland Europe stuff. Because this being 1991, thrash metal had come about and pretty much was on its way out for a while. It was certainly struggling. It was wheezing along. But then you get this, and this is rather different. This is rather unique stuff. It just sounds really interesting. So I did take a bit of a chance on this one. I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go, because I found it on a website, bought a few things from, and it was sort of not quite bargain bin, but it wasn't very much money. Put it that way. I thought I'd give it a go. Actually, I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it.
I actually
So
like the sleeve. Actually, I like the
good.
sleeve.
It's
Actually,
good. And I
yeah.
don't know
I don't think
where
it
it is.
leaves you any doubt about what you're going to get, does it? Really, ultimately, or certainly the ballpark of what you're going to get. You
Yes.
kind of know.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, you look at a cover like that, you don't expect to hear a whole lot of beautiful keyboards and
No, you don't know.
like that. No, you don't. You don't. But actually, I would really recommend checking this out if you do like, um, as we mentioned there, sort of more traditional heavy metal elements, and with a little bit more of a thrash or speed metal edge at times. It's just really interesting listening, and I thought it's certainly, with a cover like that, it's definitely worth showing off. But
Mm,
I
mm.
can't decide whether their band logo, their original band logo, is a good logo or not.
Well, I was just looking at it actually, and the two O's, the way they're pitched there, I think it
Yeah,
looks like a skull.
I think it's meant to. I think it's meant to
Yeah, I
look like
think
a
it is,
skull.
isn't it? I was just looking at that. I was thinking, hang on, is that supposed to be a skull? In which case, it's quite clever.
Yes.
If it isn't meant to be a skull, then it's sort of not that great. But it's okay.
Yeah.
I think I don't mind it at all. I quite like the colour scheme. Actually, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it works. I
Actually,
mean,
again, that is another one, isn't it?
yeah.
When we were talking last time, we were saying, that would. I mean, when did you say that originally came out?
That was 1991.
Yeah, I
So
mean, that wouldn't have looked out place 10 years prior to that,
no,
81,
it wouldn't.
82, when with on a MFN release or a Neat Records release or
Yeah.
something like that. You know,
Yeah, bit of
that would be very at
Witchfind,
home then. Mm, mm,
Witchfind or
yeah,
Venom,
right. Yeah, yeah,
of the
yeah.
like.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
that's
think
my
it's good.
first up.
Okay,
Root Hell Symphony.
good.
Over to you.
Okay, now the next one, I'm staying on the live album theme. This is actually my very latest purchase, vinyl purchase. We're going from Canada south now. We're going to Detroit City, the Motor City, for a double live album from 1978 from this gentleman, Nugent, double live Gonzo.
Which we were mentioned
Now
last time.
we did again because we were talking about the cover situation, and we
Yeah.
mentioned this one because once again, live albums that need a cover that suggest that it's a live album. So if we take the double live bit away from that, there's not too much doubt about what's going on there. This is Ted doing what he does. Now, I would say that I'm not a massive Ted Nugent fan, to be honest with you. I've dipped in and out over the years. I've never seen him live. He used to come over regularly. He would very often be over here back in the day, but less so nowadays, I think. But I've sort of dipped in and out over the years of his catalogue. But this album, I heard this way back. I'm guessing I was at school at the time, and a friend of mine's sister bizarrely had a copy of this, which was a bit weird. And yeah, and don't forget, this would have been pre or just on the very cusp of New coming out. So for people that were wanting to consume very heavy music, they were tending to look to people like Ted Nugent, because there's no doubt about it, this is extremely heavy music. I wouldn't call it metal, but it's just very heavy rock.
Heavy rock
in places, in fact. And I do like it. I really do like it. It's got loads of energy about it. It's pumping, rocking out. And there's the man himself in the back there. I mean, you know, this legend, this lunatic legend. You know,
he does look mad.
Yeah. Although it must be pointed out, I'm sure people will know this, but Ted, of course, famously teetotal, non-smoking, non-drug using, non-anything person. He's just clearly got some sort of hyperactivity problem going on there, because he's extremely animated when he's on stage, especially in the early days, having seen bits and pieces on the thing. But it is a really good album. It kicks off with a song called "Just What the Doctor Ordered," which is just an absolutely blinding song. And then, of course, we get lots of Ted Nugent hilarity with the titles, because he does like to make us all laugh with his song titles like "Wang Dang Sweet Poon Tang" and "Yank Me, Crank Me, but Don't Wake Up and Thank Me." So this is all Ted Nugent, normal sort of a normal day at the office for Uncle Ted, as he's known. But it's a great album. It really is. It's a good, fun listen. Like I say, I'm not massively familiar with his overall catalog. Very extensive catalog. He's made a lot of albums over the years. But I did think I would get a copy, just if nothing else, for the cover. And also,
it's good
because something that George and I were talking about this yesterday, because we were just having a little bit of a preamble over a couple of beers yesterday and deciding what we're going to talk about. And I'd never noticed this before. I've actually not owned a copy of this for a long, long time, but I never noticed it. But these fantastic photos of Ted inside there, and you will notice, viewers, that this one here, for instance, Ted appears to have a tail pinned onto the back of his belt there, which you can also see in some of the other clips here as well, for instance. Can you see that one? Yeah. I mean, that's okay, because we all know that Ted's into his hunting and stuff like that over there. But that's very funny. I think that's really funny, because it's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But then why not? You know, why not? He's Ted Nugent.
Very good point. Yeah, you can do what you bloody well want.
He might well turn around and say, "Well, I'm out of step, am I? You are, because you haven't got what looks like a raccoon's tail pinned to your belt. What the hell's going on, man? Pull yourself together. You know,
think about what you're doing.
Exactly. Think about what you're doing. You know, what sort of bloke walks down the street without a raccoon's tail pinned to the back of his belt in this day and age?" But yeah, I mean, you've got to just love it for the cover. You've got to love it, because he's clearly an interesting guy. I love the photos, and I do like the content very much. I can't say too much more about it, except that. I would also say that, interestingly enough, he's had the pretty much the same lineup almost all the way through as well, which is interesting. His band has not really changed very much over
consistent
years. Yeah, very consistent. So he must pay well, and he must be a good bloke to work for. But yeah, like it. And sorry, I'm just going to say one more thing. The person that sold me this on a well-known auction site He could have been a little bit more honest with the condition. Actually, I wasn't entirely chuffed with it. Actually, to be honest with you,
Oh,
I
yeah.
paid nothing for it, but I think it was a fiver. But that's not the point because he told me it was good in really good nick,
Mm.
and it's not in great nick. But that's okay because hey, there you
A
go.
little
I've
bit of
got it.
wear and tear.
Wear and tear. The vinyl itself looks fine. It really does look fine. So there's no problem there. But it's just a little bit, And for people like me and you,
Hmm.
sometimes I can't sleep at night now because of this bit at the edge here. It's kept me awake. Ask my wife. I've been,
Can't
I've
cope.
been bolt upright with my eyes bulging at this scene, wondering what I'm going to do about
Can't cope with the fact that this isn't in perfect condition.
it.
Dick.
Exactly. So anyway, there we go. Ted Nugent, £5. I'm not moaning. It's a great album as well. A good listen, a really good listen.
Nice. Like it. Like it. Right. So for my second latest acquisition, I'm sticking with the Mighty Root. And this time we've got Madness of the Graves. I'll get my fingers out of the way. So I don't know, it's a little bit of glare on there. Might not quite be able to see what's going on, but we've almost got a little bit of a morbid angel altars of madness sort of theme here with the sort of skulls. You've got some sort of, you can imagine there the tormented souls trying to
Oh yeah, I
pierce
can
through
see
the
that.
veil. Yeah, just trying to avoid the glare there. But
Yeah.
yeah, and by this point, because this is 2003, so that first album, which I showed there, or the second album, first acquisition, Hell Symphony, was 1991, as shown on this rather cool little pin badge.
That's excellent,
Very
though.
cool. That
Now,
is,
if you put that on, George, on your jacket,
yeah,
and that is deep, man.
that
That
is
is
it. If
deep.
someone knows
Yeah,
out there, if you
yeah,
see someone walking around with this,
yeah.
it's gonna be me. All right. So, that was 1991. Now we've got 2003 rather, with a what I would say is a much better logo. I'm trying to sort of, there we go. Try and angle it right without the glare. That's a much better logo. It's still pretty simple, but I think that's effective. There's the horns, it's spiky. I like it.
Mm.
I like it. But what I would say with this album, and certainly their latter material, because they don't have a particularly enormous catalogue. I think their last album was actually something like 2016. So they haven't been very active over the last 7 or 8 years. They haven't done a huge amount. But um, their latter catalogue, if you like, post 2000 tends to lean towards what I would describe as more sort of like epic heavy metal, sort of dark heavy metal. There is a black metal tendency there in the fact that it's dark. There's references to the usual stuff: Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, all of that good wholesome black metal subjects. But this is easily palatable if you liked, shall we say, bands like Manila Road, or if you like Candlemass, bands like that, Merciful Fate, The King Diamond solo material. You could definitely be able to find something to appreciate within their more recent albums, I would say. And this one is actually a really good one. Really enjoy this. Again, I picked it up for next to nothing, actually, considering what it does go for on some seller sites. The reason being, I don't know if you can see, is that there's a slight indentation at the top here. Slight sort of, it's not even a rip. It's where the sort of the lacquer, I suppose, or the
Yeah,
print
yeah, I see
paper
what you mean. Yeah.
has creased slightly because although it was new and sealed, this was new and sealed when I got it. It had obviously been tumbled around a bit in somewhere along its journey. But it's actually really cool. It's just a black vinyl, but you've got a nice picture insert with the lyrics on. But what is really cool, and I'm trying to find it in here, in amongst this stuff, because you get a giant poster, which I'm not going to try and unravel because it is enormous. It's like A2 size. And I'm just going to be flapping this massive bit of paper. But
Oh,
a nice logo patch. I want to see more of this sort of stuff.
Again, if anybody taps you on the shoulder and says, "I really like Root
Yeah.
as well," then,
Oh,
then
man.
that's the time to do a runner, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
you're in
that's
the
it.
company of like-minded people, you know.
And there's only so much of people like us that we can deal with. One is enough. So there you have it. That's Madness of the Graves, my second latest acquisition. A really good album. I would honestly seriously recommend checking out Root if, like I mentioned, bands like Candlemass or Manila Road, more epic leaning.
Now I can see now a bit better on that cover, because it's a little bit difficult to see, but I can now pick out the skulls and what have you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
difficult.
That's
To
interesting that you were saying about the logo.
Yes.
Now,
You prefer this one, don't you?
I do, but I'm just trying to think now. That reminds me of something, and I can't think what it is now. That reminds me of something that's got nothing to do with a band like that. Was it? I don't know.
I can't think of anything.
There was a southern rock band around who had
Yes.
who it really reminded me of that, and I think
I know what
the
you
reason
mean.
is because it's almost a bit like
Yes.
head of cattle thing going on there.
Southern, yeah, that I know what you mean.
Eagles or someone like that. It was something like that, and it's kind of reminding me of that.
It
As soon as
definitely,
you
I
go down,
definitely agree.
I can't quite think what it is, but whatever it is, it's. I will think of it. But other than that, I like the cover. I really
Yeah,
like the
it's
cover.
good. It does remind me a little
Yeah.
bit of that first classic Morbid Angel cover where you Altars of Madness, where you've got all these different sort of like faces and skulls, tormented souls thing going there. But it's a good reflection of the music. It's dark. It's deep.
It looks good. Looks good.
It is unique. It's unique. And honestly, if you're a black
And
metal
you
fan,
got them? Did you get that from the band's website? Or...
No, I got this from there's a distributor, a smaller operation based in the UK, which I can't actually pronounce the name of. To be honest, it's a bit illegible, but I've managed to stumble upon this seller site, this Shopify account somehow, and they got tons of great stuff on there. And I saw that and I thought, you know what, I fancy that for just over a tenner. I think I fancy that. You can't really go wrong. So I've now got 4.
As we always say, ain't gonna make me worth any less. So,
well, exactly. I've now
even
got
if you
4.
went off it suddenly, even if you suddenly decided that I don't like this anymore. There's a weird concept that is, isn't it? Of people who don't like things anymore.
That's pop culture. That's a pop culture ideology.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. I mean, years ago, as you know, I used to work in music retail, and we used to, back in the original days of vinyl, we used to buy in people's record collections. Yeah, we'll records, bring them in and
Really?
buy. Yeah. We used to because we dealt in second hands. I mean,
okay,
so
I didn't know
we
that.
would buy in, so people could bring their albums in, and we would buy them, and then resell them at a massively inflated price. Because that's
business.
Supply and demand, isn't it? But
yeah,
I often used to think, irrespective of what your music taste is, that it's not important whether you're a rock fan or a reggae fan or I don't know,
hip hop,
you know what I mean, hip hop, any
jazz,
of those.
crap.
People used to bring it all of a sudden, sort of just march in with a bag full of stuff and say, "Oh, I don't like this anymore." And I used to think, well, okay, that's fine. We've got to sell your records. That's fine, but you don't like it anymore. What do you mean? So somewhere in your brain, you've had some sort of chip removed and then another one put in, because all of a sudden you started off liking, 19 sort of late 50s, early 60s jazz, sax, Charlie Parker, and all the rest of it. And then all of a sudden, you don't like that anymore, and you like the undertones. Or the X-ray specs. What happened there? I don't.
Or mayhem.
Don't say. If you're going to sell your record collection, don't say I'm selling it because I don't like it anymore. Say I'm selling it because I'm skint.
Yeah, I need the money.
I haven't got any money. I can't put any electric in the meter, and
I
I'm
love
also shaking,
drugs. Yeah.
I'm shaking so badly, you know, I've got the sweats. I'm shaking like a shitting dog. And if I don't get my hands on some drugs fairly soon, there's going to be a major explosion in the high street. Say that, because at least it's honest, isn't it?
Even if it's not true, I want to hear someone
Exactly.
say
Yeah, I
that.
want someone to say it. Anyway, just be honest, will you?
Yeah.
Please,
Come on.
honesty costs nothing. Well, actually, it does actually cost quite a lot, actually, especially if you're honest to the police and they
Yeah, I was
take
gonna
away your
say.
liberty for 25 years because you admit to something you haven't done.
So that's not honesty, is it?
No, it isn't
Anyway,
actually. I couldn't have said that, should I? Anyway,
regardless.
we digress. We
Right,
digress.
let's have your final choice there. Your
Okay,
final
right. Well,
latest.
the final choice is once again, uh, keen-eyed viewers will not have noticed that I'm older than George, obviously, because I'm his father. But
Yeah.
so therefore, but nevertheless, I am pushing 60, and you won't be surprised to hear that yet again, my choice is from the 1970s, the decade, really. And again, I've gone with double live album. And interestingly enough, as well, I haven't gone for a single UK artist this time. This time we've gone from Canada to the US. Now we're traveling over to the fatherland. We're going to Germany.
Oh, okay.
1978 again, I believe. Hanover's
Ah,
Finest, my favourite German band, and I know that's not saying much, but nevertheless,
I disagree there, but yes,
I know you do. But there is one close on their heels. But
yes.
this is the one right now. Scorpions, Tokyo Tapes. My goodness me, what an album!
Yeah,
This is not a particularly good version. I think you've got a better copy than I
I
have, but
do.
it's
Somewhere
okay.
down there.
It's okay. It's not too bad. Vinyl's fine.
Mhm.
Um, I first had this album not long after it came out. Actually, 78 came out. I was at school at the time, and I went on a school trip to London, like a not a non-specific school trip. So we weren't necessarily going to the history museum or whatever, the science museum. We were just
Just a
going
trip.
to basically be let out into the streets of London to basically go to the pub, get McDonald's, and
Let loose in the city.
go into record shops, like you do, or
Yeah.
like I did anyway. So went into HMV in Oxford Street. Older viewers will know the name HMV, but anyway, I bought myself a copy of it, and I had never heard of them. I'd never heard the band. I'd never heard the music. I didn't know about them. I knew they were German. I didn't know anything else. And the reason that I latched onto it because I just absolutely loved the cover, and I loved
Brilliant.
I saw an advert on the back page of one of the music papers, NME or Sounds or NME, whatever it was, for that album, and it said, "This album is so hard it hurts," and it was like, you look at that cover, and once again, I mean, I don't know about you, but if that doesn't
So
say
good.
live album, this is going to be a noisy night. Rudolf Schenker trying to basically destroy any vertebrae he
Yeah.
may left. I'd like to see him do that now, by the way.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
it's this is an absolutely fantastic album. This is
It
unbelievable.
is a blinder.
This
Yeah.
this album was the final thing to feature Uli John Roth, or Ulrich Roth as he was known at that time. Actually, the Uli
Okay.
John thing came a little bit later. Yeah, he's known as Ulrich Roth then. But I mean, and that period of the band, only a brief 2 or 3 years he was in the band, and they made 3 albums: In Trance, Taken by Force, and Virgin Killer. They were the 3
Oh right.
albums they made with Uli.
Mm.
And then this, in fact, when this came out, he'd already walked because he's actually not on the cover. You've got Rudolph and Franz Buchholz, the bass player, and at the back we've got the mighty Klaus Meine and a little glimpse of Herman Raubert, the drummer there, but there's no picture of Uli. He'd gone. He's on the inside
Oh,
sleeve.
okay.
He's on the inside there. He's there crossing the road. There he is, the man himself.
Yeah.
There. Now, I don't really know what you call them. Scorpions, to me, are not heavy metal. They're just they're just
Hard rock.
hard, very hard rock.
Very
You know,
hard
they can
rock.
rock hard.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
They weren't a metal band. They weren't a metal band. They didn't have that. It wasn't. I don't know. I can't. They're one of those bands. Once again, you can't quite stick a label on. And
They don't
I'm
neatly fit into either category, do they?
No, they don't.
No.
You're quite right. And I've always been attracted to those bands that you can't quite pin down. That's why I'm a big Tull fan, a Blue Oyster Cult fan, Wishbone Ash, Uriah Heep, all these bands who you can't quite pigeonhole. They don't fit. They dabble with all of it. But this album, my goodness me, is absolutely sensational. And Udi Roth's soloing, he's crazy. He is crazy.
Off the chart.
I mean, and he's just going for it. Now he took over from Michael Schenker, a child prodigy. Michael Schenker did one album with the band, I believe, before he was poached by UFO. But he came in, and this guy just, this is a different level. I mean, I love Michael, and what Michael's work is incredible.
Oh God,
Rudolph, it was sorry, not Rudolph. Udi Roth. It's just, I don't know what it was. There was something about his sound and this nutcase looking bloke and all the rest of it. But it was great.
Very distinct. It's got a very distinct sound.
Very much so. Yeah, and also the other thing I liked about Udi Roth is, because I love this about people in the rock world, is that he was obviously very petulant because he wrote songs on his own, first of all. Because if you look at the songwriting credits, it's always Klaus Meine, Rudolf Schenker, the majority of it. And then every now and then there'd be a Roth on every album that he was on. There's always a couple of songs that he did. He insisted on singing them, right?
I didn't.
And I like that. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did the vocals and Polar Nights on this. I mean, right, great guitarist that he was. He couldn't sing to save his life, and at the same time, he's in a band with Klaus Meine, who is an exceptional vocalist, a vocalist who is. Nobody tries to sound like Klaus. No. He's completely out there on his own. Nobody tries.
Very unique again.
He's a very unique band. Yeah. But no, we're not going to do that. I wrote this song and I'm going to sing it, even though I sound like Zippy from Rainbow. Older viewers would know. But it's not entirely. It doesn't spoil it. It gives it a certain charm. But
bit of a Joe Perry situation there.
Exactly. Yeah. I can sing that one. Or even Keith Richards. Occasionally in there. But the track listing, I mean, is unreal. It's just the greatest hits up to that point in their career, which is easily the best point, the best period of their career. All Night Long, Picture of Life, Backstage Queen, and so on. Except, right now, I'm going to reach back to last time we spoke about live albums that have got a problem. Right. Now, there is a problem. In fact, there's two problems on this album. And you know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Yeah.
Because for some reason, once again, they felt the need to put on a couple of cover versions.
Yeah.
And in this case, they do Hound Dog and Long Tall Sally. Now, both of which are kind of 1950 standards. I think Hound Dog was a song that was made famous by the King, Elvis, and Long Tall Sally was a Little Richard song. Great songs, I'm sure, absolutely fine. No problem at all with that. But don't
need it.
Don't need to, mate. Don't need to. You were 4 albums into your career. There's more than enough material there. Don't do it. It kind of lets it down for me, but I am going to let it off because it's just so good. It's really well produced. We were talking earlier, when I was talking about the Rush album. This again is just powerhouse music, and it's really well produced as well. Really, but not overly done. It's just done, and they just totally go for it. And Rudolf Schenker. Now, he may have been overshadowed, we'll say, by his little brother.
Just a smidge,
But what an absolute metronome of a rhythm guitar player, which it just goes bang, bang. Everybody works either side of what Rudolph's doing.
Oh yeah,
It's amazing. A
it is
really amazing,
fantastic.
absolutely fantastic stuff. And you know what? And every time it makes me laugh. No, laugh is too strong. It makes me smile when I look at that, and I just think, man alive, that is a
Yeah.
band who are loving every minute of it. They are
Oh
having
yeah.
a ball playing this, aren't they? And they didn't even really get this stage in their career. They were not a big name band. They were not. Because it says Tokyo Tapes, and sure, it's recorded in Tokyo. It wasn't recorded at the Budokan, which is where everybody goes over there. This was a fairly small venue over there. They were not doing any business anywhere else at that point. It wasn't really until after this, and then Matthias Yabs came in and took over. No disrespect to him, he's a great guitarist, but he's not Uli Roth. He's not Michael Schenker. But he came in, and then they made albums like Love Drive and Animal Magnetism. So all of a sudden they're off. They're having a great time. Blackout. Blackout's huge album. Huge album. Yeah. It's a great album. Nothing wrong with that. I love that music from that era of the band. Really do. But that is what it's all about. Yeah. This was their time. This was their time. Alive, I tell you. And I've just been thinking about this actually. I'm kind of just thinking to myself, maybe I've kind of pitched it a little bit wrong here, because I obviously Ted Nugent, as I spoke about, not necessarily a favourite album, certainly Tokyo Tapes and All the World's a Stage. I mean, if I was going to give you a top 10 double live albums, both those would comfortably be in there.
Yeah.
But then again, it's a recent acquisition things, and they are fairly recent acquisitions for me. So
Oh, I like it, and that's certainly that is a fantastic live album. I absolutely love it.
It is a great album.
As a blinder,
it's a heartwarming album, if ever there was one for me.
Oh yeah, I mean, slightly better, I think, than the other great live album. And it's still a good live. I still think this is a
good live album. It is. Yes, and I do love the double cassette there.
Double cassette box.
It is a good. It's a good live album.
Yeah.
But it is not as good as that.
This is live greatest hits. That's what this is. This is live.
Yeah, it is okay. I don't.
Passable.
I don't think I've got a video, a VHS of that upstairs, which you bought me, didn't you?
Yes.
Now, like I say, it's not a bad album. It's not that album. That's the problem. And also, cover-wise,
yeah, yeah. Tokyo Tapes does a lot better.
I think so.
A lot better. All right. So talking about great covers. This is a more recent, I think this is 2017 reissue of a 2003 album. Now, this is one of those complete anomalies, and I don't know if you found this, where you will be looking for an album, because I'm a complete completionist, and I do not like having gaps in the discography, right? So this band in question, actually. This is the mighty Enslaved, Bergen, Norway. And I've been really, really getting into them over the last year. I'd say year to 18 months, really getting into them. And there was one album that was a significant gap in my discography. Significant because it is one of their most popular albums. But I would not spend, and I just cannot bring myself to spend sort of £13-14 for a CD. That's not okay. Not in today's day and age. But weirdly enough, and this was maybe 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, I stumbled across a brand new sealed vinyl copy of Below the Lights from 2003. And of course, the glare is absolutely criminal. So a little bit clearer there, a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
Just about.
I'm getting what's going on there.
Yeah. So this was 2003, and weirdly enough, this reissue cost less than the CD. New and sealed. Stumbled across it on eBay from some American import seller. I thought, okay, I'll take a chance. We'll see what it's all about. And actually, yeah, it's really lovely. It's a lovely package. You've got all this art going on. really nice. And forget all of that then. Forget all the art and things. It's actually a brilliant album. It's firmly within the category of sort of progressive metal at this point. Not quite proggy in the sense of crazy out there 25-minute long solos or anything like that. It's still lingering elements of black metal, because of course in the early days Enslaved were one of the second wave black metal bands. So actually inadvertently we've gone periphery black metal today. They don't sit comfortably within black metal, but there's association, if you like. But actually this album is a freaking great one, and this is an album that would definitely appease prog fans, or prog rock fans, prog metal fans, whatever. But also I think there is still elements and traces of the whole black metal vein that they had in their early material in the first few albums, definitely. But it's absolutely brilliant. Tracks like As Fire Swept Clean the Earth, which I think is a fantastic track title. That is a brilliant one. Absolutely brilliant. The Crossing as well, and Havenless. Really brilliant songs. Just genuinely really excellent, quite impressive material. I don't think I've been as impressed by a new discovery for me anyway, of a band in a long time. Enslaved are probably the first for a decent number of years that I've thought, whoa, where have I been? Where have they been? I've been missing out, because this is brilliant, and I really do like this particular copy because it's got the full sort of lacquer sleeve, which is why it's so criminally glary, nice and shiny and reflective. Trying to show that artwork, you can't really make it out all that clearly, but it's just a brilliant
album.
Good.
It's bleak. It's bleak,
yeah,
isn't it?
It's bleak. Yeah. It's bleak. It's got runes. Runes is always an absolute
always
winner,
good. Always
in
good.
my opinion. And it's just a top-notch album. Absolutely fantastic album. One of those ones where you kind of think, I'm surprised this isn't bigger, more renowned, because it's really good stuff.
Well, there's plenty of examples of that, isn't there?
So many, and Enslaved,
what's going on here,
just in general, I think Enslaved should be so much bigger than they are. And I'm going to see them Incineration Fest in May, Camden, London. And you think Electric Ballroom, they're still not an enormous venue. They are headlining the festival, but it's still not an absolutely enormous venue. But even so, the mighty Enslaved, my latest find being Below the Lights from 2003.
I must check that out. It looks good.
It is good. I mean, it does have, like I say, it has got little elements of black metal in there still. So there is some more aggressive vocals, but I think there are certainly parts that even yourself would be able to appreciate, being a prog fan as you are.
Yes, very much so, man.
Man.
Yes, man. Prog.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Yeah. So there you have it. That was my three choices. Just recapping.
Very good.
And any excuse to show it off, the lovely Below the Lights. Of course, we had the wonderful art of Hell Symphony by Root, 1991.
I do like that. That is a great.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
When I saw it's better than I thought. Actually, you led me to believe that it was maybe a little bit, but I like it and I love the badge.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to find the right angle. That's so funny. Yeah, I'm working on a new jacket, so that's going on there.
Good.
And the logo patch will also go on from Madness of the Graves. Another great one. So yeah, that's my three latest heavy relics for me.
Good. Well, we went down the double live album route from around the globe. Started off in Canada, Rush, All the World's a Stage. Well, Sledgehammer album, Heavy as You Like, just Rush doing what they did at this time in their career. Fantastic, amazing album. Then we went to Detroit City, the Motor City. Uncle Ted Nugent, Double Live Gonzo. Great album, you know. I mean, really good album, and the cover, come on, you know, it's just fantastic. And Fairy Tale.
It's the font and the color scheme. I just can't get over the Pat Travers.
He's very similar to that. He's very similar. I should have brought that down, actually, shouldn't I? I should have done, because you are right. It's exactly the same color scheme, and that was very similar. Although, to be fair to Ted, actually, that was already his logo. I think Pat may have just, I think, possibly pinched it, because I think it was a year later. And then we went over to the fatherland, to Hanover. Live album cover of the century, possibly. I think it's so good. It always makes me smile, even when I've been at very low points, you know, like I can't find my keys, or something like I stubbed my toe or something like that in my life. I've looked at this and I thought, maybe things aren't that bad.
Yeah, maybe there is a bright
1978, and this is man alive. Yeah, there you go.
There you have it.
Happy days.
6 in total of our latest vinyl finds. Be interesting to hear anyone else's thoughts and opinions on our latest acquisitions. Are there any Root fans out there? Anyone? I'd be interested to hear if anyone thought Tokyo Tapes was a crap album. I'd be really.
That's a very, very interesting thing to say, actually. That isn't it? Because I've often thought that. I thought, is there anybody out there who thinks, like, you know, and for that, you know, put in any number of albums you like.
Yeah.
You know,
is
and try to defend your position.
Yeah.
Because it suggests to me that anybody who does say that is clearly ill-informed.
Yes. The problem isn't with the album.
You can say that about any number of albums, but there's so many. There'll be so many people around who would you know say pick a band and who with a long career, and then their much later material will be what they've been exposed to. Therefore, they say, "Oh no, I can't be bothered with that. That's nonsense. All that old stuff. Oh no, you're joking. What the hell? You know, give me a break. Look at the sales.
Again. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it does always. I always wonder that defending the indefensible.
Yeah.
You need to think about what you're saying there before
Delusion.
you say it. Right? Yeah. But the trouble is with people like that who are going to make comments like that, and they don't care enough. Clearly, do they? They don't care enough, do they? Not. They care about other things, which is fine, because we don't all care about the same things, do we? Some people care about football or cars or whatever. But
we should all care about Tokyo Tapes.
But we should do. We should do, actually. We should do. I think. Do you know what? I don't know if I've ever told you, just as the clock runs down for a few minutes, but did I tell you the Tokyo Tapes T-shirt story? Well,
was this you wanted to get a?
Yeah, well, I looked. Yeah. I found one on an American website. Okay, and now the T-shirt was fantastic. It was cover, and it even had, because this little strap line across the thing. It said 2LP live record. That was always there right from the word go. This isn't something that's been bunged on. And also the old school RCA record there, which was a great logo. They actually reverted to their like early 30s one, but that was a thing. And then on the back, you had you can't quite work it out, but it said, it wasn't this picture, but it said Tokyo Tapes. You had the Japanese script again, and then you had the track listing.
Nice, yeah.
Vinyl 1, vinyl 2. And then side 1 and side 2, 3, 4. Really good album. Really good T-shirt. And I thought, wow, I'd love one of those. And it was already something like 30 quid. So it's quite a lot. Okay, fair enough. Take into account the postage.
Yeah, that's where you get stuck.
And all of a sudden you're up to 40 quid, but it wasn't that. It was the tax. You've got to pay some sort of tax on it. Yeah. Okay. Because the seller isn't going to take that hit, because it's not going to be worth it. So if I wanted it, I'd have to pay the tax on it, and it was going to put it up to about 70 quid.
Whoa,
You know,
no, that's not okay.
yeah, seriously. I mean, come on. I mean, £70 for a t-shirt. I don't think so. As much as
No,
I'd love to have that, because that is an exceptional thing, but I'm not paying £70 for. I don't like it that much, you know.
hell no,
Not on a t-shirt anyway. But
no way.
one, there'll be one. So it'll turn
Everyone,
up. There'll be somewhere along the line it'll turn up.
yeah.
And when next time I go to America, maybe I'll buy one.
Well, there you have it.
Good stuff.
That is the latest of the heavy relics. And yes, like we say, it'll be interesting to hear any other thoughts and opinions on our popular choices there. Thanks very much for watching. Do feel free to like and subscribe as always, and check back soon for more reviews and recommendations of all the good heavy things. Take care, my friends. Stay heavy.